I was asking, where do they stop? We have designed a simple form, right? And for us to know if this form requires some styling, we look at it. Can we really say that this form will give users a good experience? Why? It's not fine. So there's need for us to improve the appearance with CSS. That would not take us to today's topic, which is form styling, HTML form styling. HTML form styling. Right. The appearance of HTML form can be greatly improved. The appearance of HTML form can be greatly improved in order to give users good experience. Can be greatly improved in order to give users experience, or let's say good experience. So the first thing I'm going to do is to class. I don't know if I classed the form the last time I designed it. So I'll start by classing the form in case I have other form in the same file. There will be conflicts. So I'll start by classing this. Let me class it form 1. Now I will simply create my CSS file. I would like to work with external CSS file. Let me see. Wow, this not see my projector. That's not a. Let me see. All right. So I would like to go with external styling. So I'll create a CSS file, a separate CSS file, just for styling the form. So I will just name it form.css. I expect us to pay attention, not to be working alongside with me. Now, the next thing is for us to connect the two files, the HTML file and the CSS file. So I'll simply do that in my head section by just typing link, and then I reference the file. I reference it. Something is not okay. Go inside the CSS folder and then pick the file. Then I will now go to my CSS file. So you have to be writing some of these properties as you are following. So like I said, the first thing I'm going to do is to identify the form elements. What I feel we should improve this form a little, should make it a little bit more advanced. It's just a minute. All right, so I want to improve the form a little bit, just to make it a little bit more advanced than the way it is. Now I want to group the entire form elements together. There is a tag for grouping form elements, and there is a tag for also adding title to the grouped elements. And this is how to code it. Go back to your form page, madam. Go back to your form page. Then from the form page, Immediately after the form tag, you call the tag, which is called field set. Field set is an HTML tag which is used to group all form elements. So I'll just cut it. So I ought to have created it, and then before creating all these other elements inside it. So I will just cut it and then go to just before the closing section of the form, just before the closing part of the form, I will paste it. Now, if I go back to the front end, you can see what we have added. Need to see if the line is there. Good. You can see the line, which means that what you have wrapped all the form and its elements or the form elements inside the few sets. So I just want us to know that. Now, if I want to give this form a description, for example, now, what describe this type of form? For example, if it is a registration form or contact form, and I want it to be written on the few sets. So what is going to happen is that I'll go back to my HTML structure. Immediately after the few set tag, you write legend. You write legend tag, legend. Now, you are not expanding it, you put the title there. Let's say the title is registration form. Then I go back to the front end, you can see it what written there, because you may come across form that have few sets and what legend. So now let's quickly go for the styling. I just want to update the form with just those two tabs. Now, if you look at the form, before you start styling the form, I will advise we identify the selectors. We identify the selectors. Who can remind us again what are HTML selector? Can anybody still remember? What do we mean by HTML selector or selectors? No idea. We are all eating rice, so we are eating too much rice. Nobody can tell me what is HTML selector. I think help them out. All these guys, they are busy thinking of responsibility. I understand. People are just collecting. They are the one working. Auntie, what do we mean by HTML selector? No idea. Abi, Adi. What is HTML selector? Eh? Who is talking? Okay, you don't know. Class leader, what is HTML selector? Eh? You don't know again. Senior bros, what is HTML selector? Eh? They are looking for who is the senior bros. Who is the person that have done all this before joining this class? You are the one I'm referring to. And you were in my class that time. Eh? What is HTML selector, Oga? Classing it. Perfect. That is the description. Though I decode what he meant by used to find. HTML selector, they are HTML finders. When you are in CSS, how do you select? How do you reference? How do you specify which of the elements you want the CSS to style? That is selector. It's either you select how many ways. Let's look at how many ways you can use to select HTML? By class, by ID, by the what? The tag name. Good. Now, let's look at the way we structure this form. I'll start with the form selector, right? Followed by the field set what? Selector. Followed by the legend selector. Followed by the what? Let me go to the coding interface. After the legend, what do we have? Let's say input selector or label what? Selector. So we need to start by identifying what are the numbers of elements I should be looking up to style. That is what I mean by selector. So let me start with, in my CSS, I'll start with the form. And the form was class what? I think I gave it a class name. What was the class name I gave to it? Form 1, right? So I am going to select it by its class. So let's say what? Styling form elements with class name form 1. Of course, when styling form or class element, we have to start with period, right? So I'll say form 1 and then my CSS. The first thing I want to do, because I have to be checking the front end to know what I want. I want the form to be by my left-hand side, let's say half of the page, while the remaining half of that space will be for another image. So when they are here filling the form, there is an advert image here that is speaking our services. So this is just like double target. But at the moment, the form is taking what? The entire width. So the first thing I should do is to reduce the form what? Width to 50%. So I will say what? Width 50%. Then if I go back, then I have it, okay, 50%. Okay, so let me leave it like this. Now, the next thing I want to do is, in fact, I have changed my plan. My plan is that I want the form to be at the center of the page, and then there will be an image background. So the form itself is not going to have what? A background. So the form will be inheriting of, the background will overlap the form. Is a kind of concept. So when they are here filling the form, the image as your background is also speaking what? Your service. Now, if that should be the case, the next thing I should do is to float this form to the center, right? Before I bring in the background. So which CSS property can do that? Senior bros. Which CSS property can do that? We have two senior bros. There are two people that have already started the program somewhere before coming. So when I call senior bros, either my left or right, they know themselves. They are looking. There are some persons that are in this class that have already started learning this before joining this particular class. And I have one by my right side, then I have one just in front of my computer. So the senior bros, how do we float? How do we float this form to the center of the page? Horizontally first. We'll have to wait how many class when I'm done with this class, I will into. Okay. Hello. Nobody is helping us to float this form horizontally. I'm not saying because after floating it like this, we are still going to push it down so that it can fit to the center of the entire document or the page. Okay, since they cannot help us, let me help myself. They are eating too much rice. That is why.
Now, to float it, I said you can actually, we don't have float center. We only have float left and what? Right. But if you are dealing with a block element, you can use margin auto. So I can just say what? Margin what? Auto. Just because it is a block element. If it's an inline element, it will not work. So the form is now moved to the center horizontally. Now I want to move it down. I want to move it down. It's too close to the edge. I need to shift it down a little. Who can help me? Auntie, it's something you should know. How do you move it down? Eh? Okay. Very soon I will introduce a law. When you fail 2 questions, you buy Malta Guinness from me. Very soon. By next week, the law will be enacted. You fail 2 questions, you buy Malta Guinness. You only go free when you fail only 1. If like, don't be reading your notes. Now, that is what? Margin what? Margin top. You are pushing from the top. Okay, there is no element after it. If you do margin bottom, it will move. You understand? So I would rather push from what? The top. So I will just do a kind of random calculation. Let's say, let me see the space I'm going to get if I push by what? 30 what? PS. If I'm not okay, I go back. Did it move? It moved, right? But I want it to get here. All right? Now, that should be, let me put 60 based on what we have there now. Don't concentrate to, maybe some people will start buying the Malta Guinness today. Now, I think 60 is still not enough. Let's give it 80 and see. I just want it to, okay, so okay. Now, professionally, I may not need that few sets based on the concept, but for now, let me leave it. So the first thing I want to style is the few sets, just for us to know how to go about the CSS aspect of it. Now, maybe the color of my site is going to be blue. If that should be the case, this borderline, which is the few set, should change to what? Blue. So how do I do that? Remember that the few set is just 1, right? But if you are going to have another form in this same page that will also have few sets that you would like to style differently, what do you think you should do? Go and class this very one, right? But in this case, there is no such plan. Maybe you have it, me, I don't have it. So I will just go with calling it by what? Or selecting it by its tag name, not by class, neither by what? ID. So I will use state comment to explain to us. Styling the what? The grouping. Am I right? Grouping what? Elements, which is what? Field sets, which is the field set. Now, I will just call it by name, field sets. You guys want to see the board, and then I'm not the one struggling to see my keyboard. So now, field sets, who can give us the name of the properties I'm to use? We have used this property several times. Border, good. Border, how do we style it? We specify the what? The thickness first, right? Followed by the type of line, right? And then followed by the color. Okay, so let's go there and see whether it works. Perfect. Now, the next thing is this registration form. I want to be at the center of the line, center. That is what? Legend styling, right? That is what? Styling legend. So I will also call it by its name, legend. Legend. Which property will I use? First, what? Align. Center. So let's check. Perfect. Now, I want to change the color to blue as well. So I'm still on that particular selector. Color. Let's say blue. I'm trying to have a very good color combination. Then I want to enhance the size a little. I want to enhance the size, font size. Let me make it 20 ps. Okay. Now I want to slant it. That is what? Italic, right? Just to remind us of this property. Font what? Style. I'll choose what? Italic, and then I check. Perfect. Good to go. Now, I don't want the green line at all. I don't want it. I have my reason based on the concept. It's going to make the website not mature. Once I bring in the what? The image what? Background. Maybe after this now, I will have to bring the image background so that we can be comparing the color we are using with it, whether the background color will still allow us to go with what? The blue or not. So how do I silence that? I will just come to where I have what? Field what? Set, right? And simply give it a value what? None. You should not have to turn it off. So if I go back now, I have the text here, but the line has what? Gone. Just want it like this. Okay, if I want it, I bring it back. Now let me bring the background. Let me go to, I don't know if I have very good looking background. I have to go and download better one. So let me just, because of time, let me see if I have good images here. Okay, we have even BG2. Okay, good. So let me quickly go ahead with it. So now, to style the background, remember that it's the body that you are talking to, right? Are you with me? It's the body tag that you are to style for the background of the document. So I will say background image. Hope you have not used this one to eat Eba also. Background image. We are bringing external what? Objects. Which means I have to add what? I have to add what? URL. Test is coming. Now I know, no problem. Now here, I'll choose what? This VG. Let me go back there and check. Where am I reviewing? Good. So I like this background. It's a good one. Now, but what happened? You said? Better don't say anything because I'm the one on my seat now. I'm still coding now. Am I not a programmer? I'm calculating colors. I'm going to change my plan. All my text color will change. Let me go. Now, Auntie, something happened. This image is too small to fit the entire page. So therefore, the program uses its own initiative to duplicate it. But I don't want it to be duplicated. How will I stop it? How will I stop it, Auntie? You don't still know? Huh? Okay. That one is scope. What do you mean? You don't understand the question. Let me repeat the question again so that you can understand it. You notice that the image, the single picture that I selected, was duplicated, right? So how do I stop the duplication? I just need only one. I don't want this type. I just want just one of these to feed the entire background. You are not the one I asked for. You have not searched, they will not know it. So don't ever yet. Do you have idea? Okay. So who can help us now? Now she needs help. Where are those hands that we raised up before? Background what? Repeats. That is the option. Then which value will I select? No repeat. So let's check. Auntie, did you see it? Now, if I want, okay, background size to do what? Good. Background size. Then I'll choose what? Cover. Then I check. Okay, perfect. So now I think there is need for me to change my legend color too. But I just want this to be a cool. I want to leave that color. It's because on the screen or my laptop here is clear. I want to be a cool page. I don't want it to be too shouting. Okay, so let me maintain this color. Now, all this label, hope you remember that they were all nested in a div, right? In order to make them block. So what I will do is that I will just talk to div. I will just say what? Div, and then I will just say color. So it's either I color them with their, in other words, I'm using one type of CSS combinator. Who can remind us? I'm using one type of CSS combinator to convert all this. Let me choose that same, I think I prefer the blue as well based on, but if you are not seeing it, I could just stay on white first. Don't worry. Just stay on white first. When I'm done, I will return it. So let me try it first, whether I'm able to see it. Okay. It's good here. Now, you know, the label were created, this text that we just changed to this color, they were created with a different tag from the div. Were they created with div? But you were able to change their color with div. And I'm asking, what type of CSS combinator is this? Parent and child what? Relationship. That is what? I selected the children with what? The parent what? Elements. All right? Which means that I can as well achieve this by saying what? Label. That is, I'm calling them directly. So the next thing I want to do is to style the inputs. The inputs. What are the inputs from the last class? All the buses. Now, remember that the inputs we are different. Though we use one input tag to create different what? Different data to be collected from users, right? For example, here we say what? Input what? Text type, which means that the user is to type text inside that bus, right? Here we say what? User cannot type. He can only pick what? Date. Now, let me show you the implication of you going to CSS page and just calling input. So I will show you how to select your input instead of just using input. So if I do something like this and I say input, and I say input, if I say width 100%, width 100%, if I go back to the front end, what do you see? All of them, even the ones that don't want their width to increase, all the write-up you created with what? Input, including the dates, all of them are stretched. Why? Because they were actually created with input, including the radio button. They were created with what? The input. But I don't want some of them to be affected. So what I will simply do is to now select the input with their attributes type. Did anybody understand that logic? I am going to select the input. So this one cannot work because if I'm using this, it's not going to give me what I wanted. So let me comment this out. Let me use comment to explain what the method I want to use. Styling or selecting inputs, elements with their type attributes. Pay attention. With their type what? Attributes. Now, let me quickly go to the form. What is the type attribute for this? It's text, right? So if I say text, only the input with type what? Text. They are the only ones I'll be talking to. So which means that I will talk to this one, right? Because it has what? Type attribute what? Text. This one again. I think these are the only two. So let me quickly talk to these two first. Then I will now come and talk to date with what? Type attribute what? Date. And then talk to what? the remaining one with their type attributes. Okay, now there is something that we need to add to this form. Let me just quickly, because sometimes when I'm styling, that is where I know what I have not added. So let's assume that because this input can only be used to write single line text, right? If you want to create comments, a single input like comment, where somebody can say a lot of like write multi-line text. So let me add this somewhere just to show us, so I can actually add it anywhere here. So I will just say what? Div, so later you update your form. So div, label, coming back to where I stopped, label for test area. So the tag for creating is called what? Test area. So, but the description will now be what? Comments. The description will be comment. Then the tag that we generate it, let me put break here so that it will display it on the next line. So the tag that we generate is not input, it's test area. It's test area. And this test area, you can define the number of rows, you want. That is what, how many lines it can take, and how many what column it can take as well. How many rows, how many columns. So by default, it will come with 10. But since this my editor did not capture it, so row 10, here I can say what? Okay, let me leave this word to take the default. So if I come back to the website now, you can see that what? Now I have what? Test area for writing what? Multi-line. So if you have a page where you want them to reply you like comments, comment on your product or your services, you can just create form and add only this word test area inside. Okay, without adding other inputs. So now that we have added it, now let's go back to what we wanted to do. Now I want to talk to just these two first. So how do I select only those ones so that other ones will not be selected? Now this is the syntax. You say input, select. This bracket means what? Select. You put what? Type equals to what? Text. Did you see it now? Now, before you declare your CSS block, so if I add that same width that we added the other time, 100%, that is 100% of the container they are in. The 100% I'm talking about cannot be what? 100% of the entire page width, because they are wrapped in the form container. That is what, use the whole space in the form. That is the meaning of what? That 100%. You can see that what? We are able to talk to what? Only these two without what? Affecting other. So I am still styling. So the next one is what? Input with padding. Input with padding. What are we looking at? How we can give users what? Good experience. I am feeling that, look at this, if I type Prosper here now, I am feeling that the Prosper is too close to the borderline. There is no looking room. The margin, the space between the text and the borderline, the space are not much at all. So I want to create some space, and that is called padding. So I will now come here. I will add what? Padding. So I will say top, just give me 12 PS. That is top and what? Bottom, right? The left and right, give me 10. Okay, give me 14 PS. So if I go back to the page now, what did you notice? Can you see that what? You now have enough what? Looking what? Room, right? Now, the next thing I want to do is to add border readers. Border readers to what? To the corner, right? You know what I mean now? Just to curve it a little. I'm trying to look for a design that will give my users what? Good experience. So I will say what? Border radius. Then I can just say, let me use 10 PS and see if it's not enough. I can always, I think this is okay, right? Now input with the color, the background color of the input is what I want to define now. So I'll now come here and say what? Background color. Background color. So I'm choosing this creatively, right? You can see that what? I have been able to change the word, the input color. Then if they are writing on it, the text can no longer be black. So the text should be what? White. If they are writing inside it, this text should be what? White. Now that I've changed the background color. So what I will simply do is to add what? Color here. Add color white. White. So if you go back to the page, you see that what? The text have reversed to what? White. Then I also want to improve the size of it. It might appear too small. So that is what? Font what? Size. I want to make it 20 PS. And then I check. Okay, can you see that what? It's better now, right? Now, the next thing I want to do is what? Is hover effect. So when they hover on it, I want to see the background change to what? Black. While the text will remain what? White. I'm trying to make it interactive so that they will enjoy filling the form. Even those people that does not want to buy my product because of the way the form is fine, they will be tempted to what? To fill it and end up paying some money. Okay? So now, how do we add over effect? You cannot add over effect here, of course. Okay? So I will just declare my hover effect. Add in hover effects to, okay, to the inputs. Now, remember that what? You have to select it like this. Inputs, select, right? Type equals to what? That same word, text. Then before the CSS declaration block, you do what? Column. You type what? Hover before the CSS what? Block. This is how to add what? This is the syntax for adding hover effect. Now, always make sure that your actual appearance is different from what? The hover what? Appearance. So I just copy that, then change this to what? Black. Your actual appearance must not be the same with your hover effect. So let me go back now and check. Can you see it? So when they hover on any of these inputs, like that particular one that we selected, they will have the background black, and then once they leave it, the background will go back to what? So this is just like making it what? Interactive. Okay? So I just try to add some life to your form. Now, the next thing I want to do is that I want to add margin. How do I know that I need to add margin? This input is too close to the label. Look at it. The distance between field first name and the input itself. No space at all. That is the space on the outside, right? And that is margin. So I will now come here and say margin, not hover here. Margin what? I don't want to specify if it is only top, but I want what? To go round. So I will just say what? Just margin. Just give me margin of what? 20 PS. What did you notice? I think it's too much, right? 20 PS is too much. Let me take it back to like 10. Take it back to like 10. Okay. Now, I need to increase the font of this a little because I see based on this one, this text is too small. Where did we style the size the other time? I know we have done it somewhere else, right? Or it wasn't here. Okay, we have not declared it. No, that should be in form. Put it in form, which means that what? Any write-up that is in the form that does not have its own specific style should inherit what? The parent what? Property. It is not our portion. But if your dad could not build a house, if you could not build a house, but your daddy have one, what do? You inherit what? Your dad own for now, right? Okay, so now let's say so that is why I'm adding it to what? To the main element. Which is the main parent. So I will just say what? Font size, take it to that 20. I want it to be of the same proportion with what? The one that is coming in here. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is something happened here. Let me bring back the line. Something happened. That's why, because we have disabled the line, that is why we are not seeing it. So temporarily, let me bring back that line. Here is it. Border, right? Let me bring it back so that we can resolve it together. 1 PS solid. Let's say what? Blue. Can you see it now? Overflow. Can you see it? SS. I don't know if you are seeing it very well. That is why this is not properly arranged. This is already floating out of its container. So the form as a container is not able to contain it. So how do we solve this kind of issue? So to solve this kind of issue, you simply say to this, which of the elements are we talking to? That is the input. I will just type overflow. And the property that I normally use, I'm trying to recall it. I don't think it's overflow. Okay, so let me just continue. I'll try and get it. But if I want to use other way to solve it, I will remember before I end the class. I want to use another method to solve it, is to reduce the input width from 100%, because that is what actually caused that problem. Reduce it from 100% to like 90. Let me try 90. Okay, so I've solved the problem. I've solved the problem. Now, so the next thing, we still have some element to talk to. We have not spoken to the input type word, dates, right? The input type word. This should be what? What created this? Yes, I know it's state. Which element created that state? Was it input type? I think it's select, right? It's select. So let me quickly talk to both select. Look at this. I want to use one stone. Or let me just talk to input type dates first. So I'll now come here. I'll say styling. If you type what? Input type dates. So how do we select it? I will say what? Input select type equals to what? Dates. Okay. So if I want to select two elements at once, let's say I want to add, which one I can add here? I'm selecting dates and that, what is it called? The one you were talking about, that state, have you? There it is, select, have you? So what I'm going to do is this. So I'll come here and put comma and then call what? Select before I declare what? The CSS block. Then after this, width instead of I think the other we use 90%, right? Let me use like 50%. And let's check. Okay, it's okay. Now, padding, let's also use the same padding that we use. What was the padding? What was the padding? 10 what? Was it 10, 12 or 12, 14? 10, 12, right? 12, 14. I want it to be uniform. 12, 14. So let me check. Okay. Then I also want to add what? The border radius. What was the border radius? In fact, if I want to, well, let me code again so that we can get used to it. I will have just copied them from where I've used them before. Border radius, what did I use? I think I used 10. I mean, 10 PS. Okay, then the background color should be the same thing. You also have uniformity. It's very important when you are designing. Make sure that everything is blending just to give user. Then the font size, what did I use? Font size, I think I used 20, right? 20 PS. Okay, then the color, the write-up color, white. I mean, I think it should be white. Okay, perfect. Now, done with this. Now, which other one now? Input password. In fact, I will have just add what? Password together. Let me see if I can add it. It selects. Okay, so let me say input. I pray that all of them should work like this. No work, I'll just take it separately. Input, select, type equals to what? Password, right? Password is password now. Then, before I add the comma, I hope it should work. It work, perfect, work. Right, work. Okay. Now the next one is this particular word, test area. In fact, let me also include what? This. Which input type we use? That is file now, I mean? That is file. So let me also include file. Input type, file. So let me also say input. Input type equals to what? File. Then add my comma here. Let me check. Perfect. So it's also, but now I need to add what? Space here, margin, right? I need to push this one down. So which one do we talk to? Is it this one that we have to push down, or we have to create some space between or from the password tab or password field? Which one do you suggest we should talk to? If Mountain refused to meet Moses have to meet what? The mountain. So one of them should give us what we want. So let me just add margin here. Let me just add margin here. So I will just say general margin. Let me just try this and see if I'm going to gain some space here. Better, right? So I have neighbor space. Perfect. Then to your test area, I am going to styling test area. Problem. Okay, so styling the test area. So I'll just call it what? Test area. All right. Test area. So I'll start with the width. So the width, I want to give it 100%. Okay, 90%. Yeah, 90%. So let me check first. Okay. Then I also want to specify the height of it. The height, let me use 200 PS. Not okay, I can always Okay, so this is 200 PS. The next one is padding. I also want some padding space, and the padding will be 10 PS. Just okay. Then border 1 PS, 1 PS solid. I want to use the same words, blue. Is it there at all? Hardly see it. So the next one, let's add some border radius as well so that it can blend with other border radius of what is 20 I used on 10. It was 10. Okay, so it's better. So the background color, we need to also what? Make it go with other background color blue. If it doesn't go, I'll go back. Okay. Then background color, then let me go with what I have there before. I think it's better. So the next thing is the color of the write-off. To go with the same white with that person. Then font size. Who is that person? Font size. PS. To make it. Please help me from my office. Charger. We are almost through. Now let's talk to, I think the one of email should be part of this one to save our time. Where did we declare this one? Input type email, right? For my, okay, let me put it here. Input type equals to email. My selector has gone. This place should be select. Huh? Okay, yeah. So let's check. Okay. Now, see, I don't like wasting time. What are we doing? You know that age, I only use it to show also. I don't need it. Let it go first. I mean. Okay. Is that not what I remove? Huh? Was it not age? This is the DIV for age now, eh? Okay, okay. So now let me quickly style the button and then we bring the class to an end. So these buttons, I want them to be at the center. Remember that there was a different div that we wrap the button and we class it, right? We class it what? Buttons. So I'm going to speak to that with that class name. So I will just come here. To styling the buttons. So I first of all talk to the div, which is what? Dot button. Was it buttons? Yes. So I'll first of all reduce the width from 100% to like 50%. So that I can float the two of them to the center. So I will now I'll come here and say margin also as well. Okay, now they are the middle first, or equivalent to the middle based on the width. If I've reduced it to maybe like 40%, but I can move it later. Now let's improve the element inside it. Let's check what we actually have inside it. I think what we have here, I use input. One is what? Reset. One is what? Submit. So let me use one stone, or let me style them differently. Let me see. I'll just give both of them one appearance, but let me just finish one first, then I can. So I will do dot what? Button space what? Reset. You know what I did now, eh? No. This should not work. This should not work. This should not work. Button. Okay, don't worry. Let me use the selector method. Type equals to reset. Comma. Input. Type equals to submit. There, my CSS block. So width like this. Let me give let's try 80. Let me try 80 PS and see what I have there. This children. Miracle on the way. 1, 2, 3. Miracle wants to I told you about the woman you told me officially Miracle. Which class? This is one except for this level of shape and work code. Just relate to them, man. Since you have to apply. Yes, I'm clear. Just take care of that. So now, the height of my button, let me give it 50 PS. Okay. Now, also, which color do you think we go with it? The same color. Just want this cool color. Background color, blue, check. Okay, so the right of, that is the text color, which should be color, will be white. Okay, then I need to also, if I want the buy button to come under cancel, who can tell us what to do? So text transform. I want the first letter to be what? Capital letter. That is capitalized. Okay. If I want to bring this one down, I'll just go there and put what? Break. After this tag, put break, and that will bring up this. Then if you like, you can add what? Hover effect also, right? The hover on this, the background should go back to what? White. Then let me just add just, then we end it there. Border radius, let's make it 10 PS. Is this one better, or the width? What was the width I gave that time? 80, have you? I think let me increase the width to like 200. Width is too small. What happened? Are you the one coding? Who is shouting? Let me make it 150. If it's not fine, I go back. Better. Better. All right, so now let's go back, and with this line on the image and without the line, let's assess which one do you think should be better. So let me go and up the line and look at it together. Here is the place where we added that border line that time. Here, right? So I will remove this and check the appearance. If the other one is better, I'll go back. That is how you do your calculation. I don't understand though. I thought this is not the border line. Huh? Well, we added border line to the form. Okay. I put a none. That was what we used, right? Because if we turn it off like this, it's going to assign the default because it must come with color. So let's just change it to what? None. So that it will stop the default value. So let's go back. Okay. So now let's check. If you visit a site and it's like this, I believe this one is more mature than that line, right? So we stop here. So the next time I see you on Thursday, your form should be finer than this. You know why? Because you have hours. So I will upload this video and drop it in the group because I know that I didn't give us time to practice while I was studying because of time. So I will drop the video there and you can go through it and make sure that you come up with something. Choose your color. It mustn't be this word color. Just work with color that you feel that will give users good experience. Any question? All right.